how do we deal with this and how do we think of it? For example, the latest fire hose of craziness is Donald Trump claiming, and the White House proclaiming, actually, his 27-year-old press secretary coming out and saying that Donald Trump forced the president of Colombia to stand down. Now, the president of Colombia said, if you bring refugees, or immigrants you're deporting into Colombia on military flights in shackles, we're not going to accept them. That's just wrong. And there's a reason for this. We have what do you call it? Treaties. This is Tim Naftali of Columbia University School of International Public Affairs explained. This is from Heather Cox Richardson. If a foreign country tries to land its military planes, except in an emergency, without an existing agreement, that is an infringement of sovereignty. So Trump tried to do this. The president of Colombia pushes back. And then Trump caved in. Trump said, okay, we won't send them on military flights anymore. We'll send them on civilian aircraft, and they won't be shackled. And the president of Colombia said, okay, we'll take them. And then Trump goes out and says, see, I backed him down. When actually Trump backed down. I mean, up is down, down is up, black is white, red is yellow. So anyhow, sociologist Jennifer Walter says, here's how we deal with this. She says, the flood of 200-plus executive orders in Trump's first days is just like what Naomi Klein wrote about in her book, Shock Doctrine, using chaos and crisis to push through radical changes. She says, this isn't just politics as usual. It's strategic exploitation of cognitive limits. In other words, we're being mentally overwhelmed. She says, Marshall McLuhan, remember the medium is the message, predicted this. When humans face information overload, they become passive and disengaged. When multiple major policies compete for attention simultaneously, it fragments public discourse. Traditional media can't keep up, leading to superficial coverage. The result, weakened democratic oversight and reduced public engagement. So this is clearly, you'll recall, 8 years ago, Steve Bannon said, our strategy is to flood the zone with the S word. And that's what Trump is doing right now. Just trying to absolutely overwhelm everyone, breaking laws, refusing to enforce laws, impounding money in violation of the Impoundment Act of 1974, firing prosecutors in violation of civil service laws. It just goes on and on and on, right? So what she says we should do, number one, set boundaries. This is for yourself. Pick just 2 or 3 key issues that you care about and focus your attention there. It could be climate, it could be immigration, it could be taxes, it could be, the rich, whatever. Pick 2 or 3 key issues. Then number 2, find trusted analysts who do the heavy lifting of synthesis. Look for those explaining patterns, not just events. This is what I try to do at Hartmann Report, by the way, .com. Number 3, remember, feeling overwhelmed is the point. When you recognize this, you regain your power. Take breaks, process. This is a marathon. And number 5, build community. Share the cognitive load. Different people track different issues. Remember, they want you scattered, she points out. Your focus is resistance. Number 4 was practice going slow. Don't immediately react. Just, think things through. Good advice, solid advice in these crazy times. So how are you dealing with this? And how do you expect this to play out? And are you ready for Trump to crash the economy the same way that he did last time, and the same way that George W. Bush did before that, and the same way that Reagan did before that? Buckled up? I'll pick up your calls on the other side of the break. Stay with us.